Hello, this is Ms. McCauley, and this is part one of how to find the volume of a right rectangular prism. When you've completed this, please answer the questions and complete the note check. Okay, so let's think about two things. Let's predict two things that we might learn about in this particular lesson. Based on what we've done in the past geometry lessons, what do you think we might learn about when we say that the lesson is called Volume of Right Rectangular Prisms? Well, hopefully you would say that we will learn how to find the volume of a prism. And as you have learned in all of the other geometry lessons, we also learn how to find the missing dimensions sometimes of a shape. So I think we're going to learn how to find the missing dimension of a prism. And we're specifically talking about rectangular prisms in this lesson. Okay, so before we start, we really should try to figure out a little bit of our vocabulary and understand our definitions. What is volume? So far in the geometry unit, you have specifically been working on area. Now we're going to talk about volume. And what volume is the amount of space inside a three-dimensional figure. That's what volume is. It's how much space there is inside of a 3D figure. When would we ever use volume? Well, hopefully you've also maybe done some of this in science, but you'll use volume to find how much something can hold. Okay, so for example, an example of something that would be using volume would be how much space inside of an aquarium. A non-example would be how much space on the floor an aquarium covers. That would be area, right? How much space on the floor the aquarium covers. That is not an example of volume. That would be area. So let's look at kind of a real world link. So here's our aquarium. You can see our aquarium right here with this pretty big fish inside. The dimensions are shown. You've got a base here that's 3 feet, another base that's 2 feet, and the height is 2 feet. So what is the area of the base of the aquarium? Well, the base is a rectangle, so hopefully you remember how to find the area of a rectangle, okay, or a parallelogram. It would simply be the length times the width, or 3 times 2, which equals 6 feet squared, is the area of the base. The height, what is the height of the aquarium? That's right here. It's 2 feet. So let's fill in the blanks to find the volume. The length is 3, the width is 2, and the height is 2. So length times width is 6, times the height is 2, which is 12. So to find the volume, it's simply just multiplying all three numbers together. That is not hard at all. Okay, go ahead and go to your next page as soon as you're ready.
Hey, I'm Freddie French Fry, and I'm in Alaska. I am here to help you understand how to find the volume of a prism. The volume V of a rectangular prism is the product of its length L, width W, and height H. We write that in symbols as V equals LWH, or volume equals base times height, area of base times height.
Hi. Freddie gave you a pretty good definition of the volume of a rectangular prism and the formulas. You can use either of these formulas. I do want you to realize that B, like a capital B, that means the area of the base. Okay, a three-dimensional figure has length, width, and height. So it has length, width, and height. A prism is a three-dimensional figure with two parallel bases that are congruent polygons. That's where you can see this prism has two rectangular bases that are both polygons. They're both rectangles, so they're polygons. They're the same shape and size. That's what makes it a prism. In a rectangular prism, the bases are congruent rectangles. So this is a rectangular prism because both of its bases are rectangles. Volume is the amount of space inside a three-dimensional figure. It is measured in cubic units, which can be written using abbreviations and an exponent of 3, such as units to the third power or inches to the third power. Okay? That's really important to remember. In area, we use square units with an exponent of 2. With volume, we use cubic units with an exponent of 3. Cubes are special rectangular prisms. All three side lengths are equal. So the volume of a cube can be written using the formula volume equals side cubed. That simply means that if you have a little cube, which is like a square, a three-dimensional square, you take the side length and multiply it times itself 3 times. Side length to the third power. Decomposing the prism tells you the number of cubes of a given size it will take to fill the prism. The volume of a rectangular prism is related to its dimensions, length, width, and height. Just move this around just a little bit. Another method to decompose a rectangular prism is to find the area of the base and multiply it by the height. That's where we get this formula right here. Okay, so we can find the base times the height right here, and then multiply that by the height of the prism, and we would get the volume of the entire prism. Go ahead and go to your next page, please. Let's do some examples. Let's find the volume of the rectangular prism. B, or the area of the base, is 10 times 12, which is 120 square centimeters. The height is 6. So we would write the formula for volume as volume equals area of the base times the height. So we get volume equals 120 times 6, which is 720. You could have also written volume equals length, width, height, and you could have written it like this, 12 times 10 times 6, and just multiplied them all together and gotten 120. Okay, you can also think about the volume of prisms as consisting of 6 congruent slices. Each slice contains the area of the base, 120 centimeters squared, multiplied by a height of 1. That's just another way to think about it. I prefer to use either this formula or this formula. Let's go ahead and have you do these two problems here, and Freddie will come back and tell you the answers. Now remember, if you see that you have 3 congruent dimensions, the length, the width, and the height, this is a cube, so you can also use the formula here, volume equals side length to the third power. That's another way to do this. This one over here, you will want to use either volume equals length times width times height, or volume equals area of the base times the height. Go ahead and press pause, solve the problems, write your answers here, and then check your work with Freddie when you are finished.